To build the buoyancy engine, you're going to need the SeaGlide parts kit number 2 that says buoyancy engine, and you're going to need the SeaGlide parts kit number 6 that says tools. For the first part of the buoyancy engine, you're going to need, let's scroll down here to see what we're going to need. We're going to need some of these parts to begin with, not all of them. We're going to need the BBs. We're going to need the drive screw nut. We're going to need the 3/8 inch washer. We're going to need the number 2 3/8 inch screws. We're going to need the drive screw. And we're going to need the 100cc syringe. We're also going to need one of the pieces out of the core glider parts bag here, one of the 3D printed parts, and that's this piece right here. I'm going to put the rest of this back in the bag, which we'll use later. From the tools bag, we're going to need 2 things. We're going to need our screwdriver, and we're going to need a plastic glove. To start, before we do anything else, you'll notice at the end of this canister, it looks like when it was 3D printed, some filament got a little bit stuck in the wrong spot, so I'm just going to peel a little bit of that stuff out so that we can get our BBs in a little bit easier when the time comes. I'm all done peeling the plastic out. It should look something like that. Okay. So I'm going to set aside the things we're going to work with immediately here, and that is this sort of canister item, the washer, the brass nut, and the screws here. The brass nut gets pushed into the holder for the BBs, just like this. And then I put the washer right on top. Next, I'm going to take out 3 of these number 2 screws. Put the rest in the, leave the rest in the bag and zip it up here. Don't want to lose any of those. And I'm going to take my screwdriver and I'm going to switch it to Phillips mode and run these 3 screws in here to hold that washer in place. You're going to have to push down hard enough so that that screw doesn't slip when you twist. You don't want to go too far. You don't want to screw too tight because this is just 3D printed plastic and it'll crack and break if you overdo it, or it'll strip out. So you want to just get it to the point where it's snug, where you feel a little bit of resistance. Now, that brass nut cannot come out. Alright, the next step is to put the BBs into the little canister here, the cylinder. The first time I tried to put BBs in the canister didn't go so well. So this time I've got a box ready, and instead of using the bag that the syringe came in, I'm actually using the bag that the water bottle came in because it's a little bit more flexible plastic and it's got a little bit bigger mouth on the end, and it didn't get tore up. The syringe bag kind of got beat up a little bit. So now I've got my canister set just like this, and I've got my bag of BBs right here, and I am going to start pouring the BBs into the canister. And you can see I'm missing. That's okay because it's in a bag in a box. Kind of shaking it a little bit to try and get those BBs to bounce in there. And then I'm going to let those BBs that are on the sides fall down. I'm going to push these ones in with my fingers a little bit. I'm going to take this and tap it down a little bit to try and get those to bounce down. And then see if I can squeeze a few more in here. We need to get it pretty much full to the brim for it to have the right mass. It's a little bit of a trick to hold this other bag. I'm going to push those down with my finger again. And now it's time to measure the mass here. And it's supposed to be between 220 and 232. So 229.2 looks great. I could take a few out if I wanted to, but I'm not too worried about it. We'll leave it just like it is. To clean up the remaining BBs, I can take this bag and try and pour them back into my original Ziploc bag for the BBs. Again, over the box. Over the box. Oh, see, that's why we do it over the box, because some already spilled out. And then, with my box, I can get the remainder back into the bag there, just like that. Didn't lose a single BB. It's time to take this syringe apart. Now, at this point, before I pull this out, I want to have a glove on one of my hands. And the reason for this is I do not want to touch the black part of that syringe. If I touch it with my hand, the lubricant that's on there will get worn away, and that would be, or not get worn away, but it'll get compromised. It won't work as well, and the lubricant that's on there is pretty hard to replace. So I'm going to switch my screwdriver back over to a straight slot, and I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to use my screwdriver to pry underneath here to try and help get this out, and I'm going to use my gloved hand to help make sure it doesn't pop all the way off too quickly here. So I've just about got it, And using my gloved hand, I'm going to put it onto this little canister. There we go. Now I'm going to put the canister inside the syringe. Now this is protected. We don't have to worry about that lubricant getting compromised anymore.